At the beginning of the season, we all imagined the Orlando Magic would look exactly how they looked in the fourth quarter of Sunday's game. So why is it taking this long today on Locked On Magic?
You are Locked On Magic, your daily Orlando Magic podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
And you are indeed Locked On Magic. Today is March 16th, 2025. It will be March 17th, 2025. Happy St. Patrick's Day to those who celebrate. My name is Philip Rossman-Reich. I'm the senior writer over at OrlandoMagicDaily.com. Of course, follow me on Twitter at PhilipRR_OMD and on Blue Sky at PhilipRR. On today's episode of Locked On Magic, the Orlando Magic do the unthinkable. They defeat the Cleveland Cavaliers. How the Magic did it, why it's exactly what we've wanted all season long, and whether the Magic can do it again. We're going to get to all that coming up here in just a moment. But first, we want to thank you again for making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. No matter when you listen to us, whether it's first thing in the morning, whether it's right when we upload, we truly appreciate you making Locked On Magic part of your day every day. You can make Locked On Magic an even bigger part of your day with the Locked On Magic Daily Newsletter, the one stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com. And start your day with the all-new free Locked On Magic newsletter. Today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. We have been waiting a long, long time for the Magic to have a win like this. Yeah, they got the Milwaukee Bucks last week, but the Magic as a team have simply struggled to do what they did Sunday afternoon. Beat an elite opponent, win on national TV, and we could talk, and we may talk tomorrow about why all that is so important and why this win doesn't necessarily change what's happening this offseason. But the Magic entered this season believing they could win games like this. They entered the season believing in their potential of what they could be. They had a vision for what this season was going to be, and they have not lived up to that vision. This is a disappointing season to be at 32 and 36, 37, whatever their record is. I'll look that up. Let me get that right. To be at 32 and 37 is a failure. Is not what this team imagined, is not what this team envisioned. They have not had the year they hoped for or believed they would have. And it's for a number of reasons. Injuries are part of it, like all those reasons. But it's mostly because they haven't been able to play to the standard and level that they expected. Players haven't stepped up. Players have regressed. They've struggled. They've lost trust. They've lost their mojo, their confidence, all of these things. For the last 2 months, the Orlando Magic have not looked like the Orlando Magic, or at least the Orlando Magic that we envisioned, that we believed in, that we thought was possible. The Magic have always had their work cut out for them. They always had a hill to climb. There's always a next step. But we didn't expect to take this step back. And the Magic have not been able to recover. They've told us repeatedly, we believe we are the team, this team. We believe we are this hounding defensive team, this measured, composed, sharing offensive team. And we haven't seen it. It hasn't played out. We can't deny it. We can't ignore it. We can't pretend that this isn't the case. The Magic are who they are and what their record says they are. But they've always also been the team we imagined. It just has struggled to come out. Throughout this 5-game road trip, we've seen it a little bit more. Better defensive effort minus rebounding against Houston. Strong sharing the ball game against Milwaukee, against New Orleans. A strong defensive effort throughout the whole 5-game road trip until the fourth quarter against Minnesota. But against Cleveland, the best offense in the league, in a close game at the end when you have to make plays, that's when all the questions get answered. That's when you find out who you really are and what you're really made of. With 2 minutes to go, the Orlando Magic trailed by 3 points. For the way this Magic offense sometimes plays, and for the way the Magic offense played for a good chunk of the game on Sunday, that felt insurmountable. It felt like a lot. Yes, the Magic came back from 13 down twice and all that, but it felt like a lot. And then it happened. That light bulb clicked on offensively. That idea of, this is why we signed Kentavious Caldwell-Pope. This is the Kentavious Caldwell-Pope we imagined. Setting a ghost screen for Paolo Banchero, getting the Cleveland Cavaliers to be confused about what they were doing, slipping him into open space as the defenders went with Paolo, and then feeding him for a game-tying 3. Then a few possessions later, trailing by 1 point, the Magic ran that same look again. The Cavs were on it this time. They switched. But that put Donovan Mitchell on Paolo Banchero. And Paolo took that attention, took that mismatch, got to the foul line, and forget what he did the rest of the game. Forget the struggles that he had to shoot the rest of the game. He buried a free throw line jumper for the lead. And then the Magic's defense took care of business from there. Contesting a 3, getting a rebound to get a free throw to go up 3, then contesting 2 threes, struggling to get the rebound, contesting another 3, and finishing the game. Those final 2 minutes, that is Orlando Magic basketball. That entire second half, where the Magic's defense led the way, made it so difficult for Cleveland to get threes. Yes, got lucky that some open shots didn't go down. Grinded the game to a physical halt. Did not care if they fouled. Did not care if they were fouling as much as they were getting to the line. Made Cleveland have to just grind their gears and find their way through. That is Magic basketball. That is the way they always imagined this team would play. And then you use that defense to create some easy offense and transition. You trust your teammates to make open threes. Anthony Black made 2 big ones in that fourth quarter. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope hit his. Paolo Banchero hit 1. And you trust your stars to carry you through the finish line. This was the vision. This is why the Magic believed what they were capable of. That they could stymie a dynamic offense like the Cavaliers' offense. That they could crowd and congest the paint, making it hard to kick out, making it hard to get to the open shooters, to the open players, making it hard for them to function. So that even when they did get open shots, they're rushing, knowing the hawking Magic defense is right next to them, is right by them. And then using some space, using some creativity, using, yes, the gravity of their 2 stars attacking the basket to create open opportunities and stepping into those shots with confidence. Paolo and Franz did not play well. They did not have good games at all to score their 24 and 22 points. They did not shoot well, combined 14 for 41. But it didn't matter. The Magic's defense did the job. They made their threes, 13 for 31. That's 41.9%. They made 3 more threes than Cleveland did. They got to the line for 34 free throw attempts. They scored 26 points off 14 turnovers. And yes, Orlando had 12 of their 18 turnovers in the first half. The second half was brilliant, 61-43 in the second half. They trailed by 13 at halftime. They cut that deficit to 1 in the third quarter and pulled away, holding the Cavaliers to 20 points in the fourth quarter. This was not the vision to win a championship. The Magic will have to be a lot cleaner if they want to get to that level ever. But this was the vision for this team. This was the vision the entire time. To be this staunch defensive team that is so tough to score against, it just creates frustration. It creates It creates anger in their opponents. This is Magic basketball. In all its glory, in all its fun, in everything that it is. This is Magic basketball. And it has been a long, long time since we've seen it. Plain and simple, a long, long time since we've seen it. The Magic played well on this road trip, 3-2, and we'll recap the road trip a little bit more, I think, on tomorrow's episode, talk about the trends this team is heading in. The Magic found themselves these past 10 days, or we hope they found themselves these past 10 days. And it culminated with a hopefully confidence-boosting and identity-confirming win. Momentum is the next day's picture. We'll find out Wednesday against Houston, but the Magic found the vision of who they're supposed to be, and they executed it to brilliance against the best team in the Eastern Conference, a team that was on a 16-game winning streak, against their arch nemesis at this point, the Cleveland Cavaliers. It has been a while since we've been able to say that the Orlando Magic played by committee. How the Magic stepped up with Paolo and Franz struggling. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends over at DoorDash. NBA fans, get ready because they swoosh, you save. Thanks to Dash Pass, every time a player drops 50 or more points in a game, you score a huge deal the next day. It's simple. When any player scores 50 or more in a game during the 2024-2025 NBA regular season, Dash Pass members get 50% off an order up to $10 off the next day from noon to midnight. You can use that to have an epic game day feast because after an epic 50-point performance, you can celebrate by ordering wings, pizza, or burgers from your favorite spot delivered straight to your door. If you got those late night cravings and you're staying up watching highlights or just need a midnight snack, use Dash Pass to grab something delicious while saving big. No matter when you're trying to eat, as long as it's between noon and midnight, Dash Pass has you delivered after those big scoring performances. Sign up for Dash Pass and be ready to save. When any player scores 50 more in a game, Dash Pass members get 50% off an order the next day, up to $10 off. Just use promo code NBA50 from noon to midnight after a 50-point game on eligible orders at participating merchants. You must have an active Dash Pass account. Terms apply. Visit DoorDash to learn more. Today's episode of Locked On Magic is also brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. March Madness is here. The brackets are out, and FanDuel is giving you the chance to get in on the action like never before. Right now, new customers can get $200 in bonus bets when your first $5 bet wins. That's $200 extra bucks to use on everything from buzzer beaters to Cinderella stories and even who's cutting down the nets. With the brackets now out, I've got my eye on a few underdogs already this year, and FanDuel makes it easy to back them with spreads, totals, and game props. With tournament games happening almost every day, Force 4 starts on Tuesday, there's always something exciting to bet on. And the FanDuel app is simple to use, and when you win, you get paid instantly, no waiting around. So visit FanDuel.com and get in on the college hoops action all tournament long. Paolo Banchero, the formula for the Orlando Magic lately has been Paolo Banchero and Franz Wagner carry a massive scoring load. And the Magic hope that somebody comes along. That's not Magic basketball, by the way. We can define Magic basketball as a lot of things. That's not it. That is 100% not it. The Magic need consistent scoring and they need trust. I mean, again, I honestly think the biggest issue that the Magic have faced this season, that the Magic have faced, is that there's just this lack of trust. I mean, there's no other way for me to describe it, really. The team doesn't seem to always be on the same page, and part of that is just about they've missed a lot of threes, they missed a lot of open shots, and so there's just this lack of trust. When you watch the Cavaliers defend the Magic on Sunday, they, if they got the switch they wanted or whatever, Wendell Carter would go to the weak side. Jared Allen would just stay on that strong side block, just being a presence to keep Paolo Banchero from getting to the basket. They're not concerned. They'll do weak side zones. No one's concerned with the Magic shooting. And ultimately, the way the Magic have to win is someone else has got to make a shot to keep defenses honest. Why was Paolo Banchero able to get to the free throw line? First, he got the switch he wanted because DeAndre Hunter and Donovan Mitchell had to be concerned about Kentavious Caldwell-Pope because Kentavious Caldwell-Pope had 15 points, 5 for 9 shooting, 3 for 5 from 3. We finally got the game that the Magic signed Kentavious Caldwell-Pope for. This is exactly why he was there. This is exactly why they signed him. And yes, he made the big shot at the end. Again, this is the vision. This is what the Magic imagined they'd be doing every single night. It took us 69 games. Nice. It took them this long to get there, but we got here. Is it too late? We're going to find out. But the Magic need others to step up. I mean, just look at the minute distribution. Franz Wagner plays 35-47. Paolo Banchero plays 38-05. Wendell Carter plays 35-08. Magic are not exactly trusting their bench these days. And that's a bigger problem too. But with Franz Wagner shooting 8 for 19, going 1 for 6 from 3, turning the ball over 7 times. With Paolo Banchero shooting 6 for 20, probably his worst shooting game since the All-Star break, they still got their points. And Franz started 2 for 10, so he finished 6 for 9 in the second half. Got himself going in that third quarter, especially to help the Magic get back into the game. Paolo Banchero was hunting for shots, but he was driving and really frustrated with the fouls that he didn't get called, even though he got to the line for 11 free throw attempts. He got 11 rebounds, 7 assists. He stayed involved. It's the 7 assists that matter because that means others were making shots. Oh, click your cliche buttons out because Jamal Mosley didn't say it during his post game, but this was truly a by committee win. And this is what Mosley means by committee. It's a reminder to everyone to step up and be ready, but it's a reminder as much as anything to Paolo and Franz to trust your teammates, that the ball is going to find where it needs to go if you make the right reads. If you try to force things, it's not going to go well. It's not going to happen. And again, the Magic shot 42% in this game. They were, 21 of 50 on 2-point field goals. They were 15 of 40 in the paint. Cleveland's defense was really good too. Yes, Orlando scored 108 points. They had like a 110 offensive rating in the second half, in the final 3 quarters, but this was a slog. And look, the Magic don't mind dragging you into the mud, and Cleveland doesn't necessarily mind playing dirty either. But the Magic needed others to step up. Kentavious Caldwell-Pope hit the big shot. Like, he ties the game with that 3, and I think especially him making that shot with the struggles that he's had shooting 31% from 3 this season, I think that lifted everybody's spirits and really built some confidence in this team. Because now that Paolo knew Kentavious Caldwell-Pope's going to make that shot if I pass to him, now that the defense knows that, they couldn't leave him the way that they were. And again, that opened the door for Paolo to hit the big shot, to hit the go-ahead shot, to hit the game-winning shot that he hit a few possessions later. Wendell Carter was huge with 16 points, 14 rebounds, 6 offensive rebounds. Gave up his share of offensive rebounds. Jared Allen had 3 offensive rebounds. The Cavs had 16 total. But he was active around the basket, like floated into pockets so he'd be available for pass. Hit a couple threes. I know he had one really bad miss, but him making 2 3-pointers, that tilts the defense. That forces them to at least respect his shot enough. Again, it's a broken record. Every single game, the Magic have to make shots. They made shots, 13 for 31 from 3. But the real hero of the game was Anthony Black. Anthony Black had 17 points. He was 5 for 7 from 4, 3 for 3 from 3. He had 2 big 3-pointers in the fourth quarter that brought the Magic back into the game. They were down. They were down by 1. They gave up 2 threes very, very quickly. Went down 7. Had to climb back uphill again after trailing by 13 on 2 separate occasions at the end of quarters. They had to climb back into this thing. Again, like scratch and claw their way back into this thing. They were down by 7. It took them 3 minutes to make up those 7 points, but they didn't give up any points in that time. So their defense, again, one of the best defensive performances the Magic have had all season. And it's been a season of good defense. I think over the last 3 quarters, they gave up 38 points in the first quarter. I believe over the last 3 quarters, they had an 89 defensive rating. Like Cleveland missed some open shots. Donovan Mitchell was 3 for 14 from 3. Sam Merrill was 1 for 7. He missed his first 7 threes. Max Strus was 1 for 4. DeAndre Hunter was 1 for 5, 2 for 11 for the game. The Magic's defense was really stifling in the paint. They just kind of surrounded everybody and just made those kickouts difficult. Cleveland missed shots. Let's not pretend otherwise. They missed Evan Mobley, obviously, too, but they missed a lot of open threes in this game. They were 10 for 40 from 3. Cleveland can win those games, but it's hard. It's harder when you miss shots, as we all know. But Anthony Black was huge. Just turned the game on its head. Late in the third quarter, he and Gary Harris just kind of took it upon themselves to pressure, to put on a little full court press. They forced 3 straight turnovers just on their defensive pressure alone. One of them led directly to a Gary Harris layup. He stole the ball on an inbound, was right by the basket, laid it in. It was his only points of the game, but that's all you need from Gary Harris. Gary Harris was plus 17 in 20 minutes. Excellent. And I know people get annoyed that he doesn't take shots, and I agree. They need to get him more shots. That's more about passing, but Gary Harris is solid defensively. The Magic do not worry about Gary Harris being on the floor. He and Black turned the game on its head in the third quarter, and Black just kept on the confidence. This has been like the big thing with Anthony Black. Everybody talks about it on the team. Black has to be confident. They want him to be aggressive. They want him to do these things. And, Jamal Mosley singled him out after the game and said, when Anthony Black is aggressive like he was today on offense and defense, he is a really good player. And that is 100% true. He is a really good player, and figuring out how to get this aggressive side of him out, this confident side of him out is the task right now. He had a great game in this one, and you can't waste these good Anthony Black games. He played exceptionally well. And again, it's everyone else doing their part. Carter, Caldwell Pope, and Black getting 16, 15, and 17 points is just absolutely huge. Is absolutely a huge benefit for this team. And it changes this team because, look, Paolo had a bad game and still scored 24. Franz had a bad game and still scored 22. The Magic are going to get somewhere near 50 points per game from their top 2 guys. They got to find 50 more points, more than 50, but for the sake of this argument, they got to find 50 more points from somebody else. And again, they're searching for it because outside of those 3, nobody else scored more than 3. Goga Bitadze had 3 all at the foul line. Then you got 2, 2, 2, 0, 2. Nobody else. Scoring is still really hard for this team. But when you have 3 players like that scoring at the clip they were scoring at, that tells you the ball is moving. And maybe finding the same guys, it still may be simplistic things, but it tells you the ball is moving. And again, that's the vision. That's what the Magic want. That's what the Magic have been fighting and striving to do. This game is as close as the Magic have looked to who we want them to be. Obviously, like the New Orleans game, it's the New Orleans game. We saw it against Milwaukee. We've seen it now 3 of the last 5 games. There are signs the Magic are pointing in the right direction. Now it's about doing it again and again and again and again. Hopefully a win over Cleveland is just a huge, huge confidence boost. But we'll see, obviously. We'll find out Wednesday when they play Houston, another team on a winning streak. They're going to play Philadelphia on Monday, another team on a winning streak. Not an easy team to face. We obviously just saw them. We obviously just saw what they can do. It's going to be a battle here till the end of the season, but the Magic are certainly putting them, the Magic has certainly seemingly righted the ship. And again, we may talk a little bit more about that on tomorrow's episode, but a 3-2 road trip, we'll take it. We've gone through most of the box score. So let's talk about why this win is so important, what this win means for the Orlando Magic and how they carry it forward. We'll get to that coming up here in just a moment. But first, today's episode of Locked On Magic is brought to you by our friends over at Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all of the money go? between dining out, online shopping, and entertainment, it's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in. Your personal CFO giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app, it's a complete financial command center. You can track all your accounts, investments, and spending in one place so you stop just managing your money and start building wealth. With Monarch Money, you get surprising insights like realizing just how much you're spending on food delivery so you can now budget smarter and save more. Instead of juggling all these multiple apps, you get all-in-one convenience because you can use Monarch to check your finances, track spending, and even plan long-term goals all within one app. And managing money with your partner is smoother than ever. With easy collaboration, you can track shared and personal accounts, set goals, and stay on the same page without the stress. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNBA for half off your first year. So there's obviously a lot built into this game. We're 70 games into the season, so we can't fully say this. The ghosts of last year's playoff series should be gone. Like, Cleveland is what they are. Orlando is what they are. Game 7 is in the past. Yes, I think winning in that building and exercising some demons and doing it on national TV is a big deal. We no longer can say this. The Magic won their first national TV regular season game since April 2019. It's been 6 years since the Magic have had enough national TV games, but they won one. You can no longer fear being on national TV. The Magic didn't put their best foot forward, but they showed everybody around the nation who they are. And it's cathartic. Like, you feel that weight after the 40-point loss about a month ago now, 3 weeks ago now. The Magic needed that statement to say, we are not that team. We can be this team. And again, that's kind of the point of all this. We've been waiting for the Magic to be this team, to be the team capable of beating the best teams in the league. The team that looks like, yeah, they can compete, not just in a first-round playoff series, but in a second-round playoff series. Because ultimately, that's where we believed this team was going to be at the beginning of the year. They're obviously not going to be there. They're not there now. But the bottom line is Orlando had to prove they can beat a Cleveland Cavaliers. No one wants to say, like, oh, this is prepping for a playoff match or this is conference for a playoff match, but this is conference for a playoff match. The Magic know that, okay, we can compete with the Cavs. We can play with them after, again, some circumstances beyond their control, especially that first game, but 2 blowout losses to this Cavs team that made them feel like they were so far away better than them. The truth is, like, that's not the part that matters. And frankly, even the winning on national TV part isn't the part that matters. Yes, Orlando now it goes 1-6 on national TV games this year. Hopefully the Magic get another 5 or 6 next year. Again, I imagine Paolo, Banchero, and Franz Wagner are players the league should want to feature. Give us some afternoon games when you get a chance so that the German audience can get to see Franz. Paolo Banchero is quietly more popular than I think a lot of people realize. But that's the argument for the offseason. That's the argument for later. What matters is what this win represents and why a win like this matters. Among the Magic's peers, the Heat and the Hawks, the Magic do have the toughest schedule remaining. And some of that is, yes, they still had to play the Cavs, but the Magic do have the tougher schedule of these 3 teams remaining. Orlando is entering a little bit of a soft spot on the schedule, and maybe we'll talk more about this tomorrow because I do think the next 5 games are going to be really critical. Next 5 games are versus Houston, at Washington, versus the Lakers, at the Hornets on a back-to-back. The Lakers will be without LeBron. So at the Hornets on a back-to-back next Tuesday, and then they play the Mavericks at home, the Zombie Mavericks. The Magic got to win at least 3 of those 5, if not 4 of those 5. Like, this is the part of the schedule. And remember, the Magic closed the season. The Magic's close to their season is much more difficult on paper than the other teams that they're competing with. They close the season home versus Atlanta, home versus Boston, at Indiana, at Atlanta. That's their final 4 games. And again, we're getting pretty close here. We got 14 games remaining. We got 13 games remaining now. So I just named 9 of the 13. There's Sacramento in there. The Sacramento and the Clippers at home. They got another trip to Washington. There's a lot. I mean, we're getting to the end here. But the Magic needed this win because they have struggled on national. They've struggled not only on national teams, they've struggled against winning teams. And if there is a sign that the Magic need to do more or win more or do need to do something this offseason, this is the sign. Entering Sunday's game, the Magic are 9-23 against teams with records of better than 500. Only the Miami Heat had fewer wins among Eastern Conference postseason teams. Last year, Orlando was 19-28 against these teams with winning records. So Magic could maybe still make that up. But I don't know if they have 10 more games against teams with winning records. Only the Chicago Bulls last year had fewer wins among postseason teams. Essentially, the biggest issue for the Magic is they don't beat good teams enough. And look, their offense is a big part of that. The injuries this year are certainly a big part of that. But they need games that prove they're on this level. And it's just one game. You got to stack up some of those wins. They're now 10-28 in these games, or 10-23 in these games. You got to be able to stack up these wins. And the good teams are all 500 or slightly above 500 in these kinds of games. This is why this game is important, because it is proof. It is process meeting results. I know everybody hates the phrase. I know everybody hates this notion of process over results. Do the right things over and over again, and you'll win more often than you lose. Sometimes you play well, you lose. Sometimes you play poorly and you win. You'd rather play well and lose than you'd rather win. No, don't get me wrong. But this is always the idea. That if you do the right thing over and over and over again, you'll put yourself in a better position to succeed than if you don't do the right things. The Magic over the last, really since the All-Star break, have done a lot of the right things. Their defense has slipped considerably. They've struggled with rebounding. I'm not going to say that they're perfect. There's still a lot to clean up and a lot to improve. But the Magic have been looking better. Yeah, they went 1-6 on their homestand, but 4 of those 6 games came down to the last possession. 1 more of those came down to the last few minutes, and the other was the 40-point blowout to the Cavs. This road trip, they went 3-2. They are starting to do more right than wrong. And frankly, the Milwaukee game should have been that breakthrough. The problem was they nearly blew it. They nearly gave it away. And so there was that little bit of uncertainty. The Minnesota game could have been that breakthrough, but they gave the game away. But as Jamal Mosley pointed out after the game, what is important then is the Magic took the lessons from that Minnesota loss. The things they did well, learned from the things they didn't do well, and they played with that kind of effort, intensity, and energy in Cleveland. And look, that may not win you every game against Cleveland. The Magic probably got, again, I think the Magic got a little bit lucky because Cavs missed a lot of open shots. The Magic are not the elite defensive team that they were earlier in the season. Let's just make that clear. They have moments where they are elite, but 48 minutes are just not there anymore. What the Magic showed on Sunday is that the process is meeting results. They got the results for their effort. They got the results for the work that they put in, for everything that they have built and rebuilt about themselves. And frankly, as much as I think process over results is a great mindset and a great way to look at things and a great way to focus on things, this is what matters at the end. You got to get the W's. You got to get the wins. You got to climb the standings. And this is a game that you steal that you weren't expected to win that helps you get that much closer to Atlanta. And I know Atlanta's playing as I'm recording this, so the standings may not shift, but this is a big one for that purpose. And again, Orlando kind of controls their own destiny with the Hawks because they still have 2 more meetings against them. They still play them 2 more times. what the Magic needed to see was that all of their hard work does pay off. Because again, as much as process over results is a thing, we're all humans. Like, we're all human beings. We all sit there, and when we fail or we fail to meet our goals, get frustrated. It happens. You need the sugar high sometimes. Sugar, like, eating a piece of candy is not the worst thing in the world. You don't want to do too much of it, but rewarding yourself is not the worst thing in the world. The Magic needed a reward like this because now you feel like you can beat anybody. If the Magic had lost this game and were 2-3 on the road trip, I think we'd all say these next 5 games versus Houston, at Washington, versus the Lakers, at Charlotte, versus Dallas, and then Sacramento's 6 on the back end to finish a 3-game to continue the second game of a 3-game homestand. The Clippers come in after that. I think if the Magic had lost this game, we'd be like, okay, just go 3-2. Maybe we steal the Lakers. Maybe we steal Houston. Got to steal one of those two. But you could probably go 3-2, beat Charlotte, beat Washington, beat the Mavericks, and be okay. But guess what? Now the Magic won this game. Now it's like, absolutely, steal one of Houston and the Lakers. Steal one of those 2 games, and now you're in business. Now you're cooking. Now you're picking up steam. Now you're confident again. That's what this win is, or that's what this win has to be. And frankly, it means they need to match this effort and match this result Wednesday against Houston. No offense to our friends with the Rockets. They're on a nice win streak too. They're not an easy team. They're a very good team. Don't get me wrong. They're the West version of last year's Magic. That's a game the Magic need to be focused in on winning in the same way that they won this game. Because it is, again, confirmation of belief. And this season has just frankly had so little of that confirmation. So little of being able to see the fruit of all your work. The Magic aren't back. I'm not going to sit here and say, oh, the Magic are back. This is how we're going to play the rest of the year. But again, they showed us what they can be once again. And that is at least a place to start as we begin this final sprint to the end of the season. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. Of course, find me on Twitter at PhilipRR_OMD. Find me on Blue Sky at PhilipRR for the latest on the Orlando Magic. Be sure to check out OrlandoMagicDaily.com. You can find us on Twitter at OMagicDaily. And for even more Orlando Magic content, be sure to check out my Patreon page, Orlando Magic Hub, at patreon.com/Orlando Magic Hub. As always, thank you for your support. As if all that is not enough, you can also check out the Locked On Magic Daily newsletter, the one-stop for ultimate team and league coverage delivered right to your inbox. Sign up for free now at LockedOnDaily.com. That's LockedOnDaily.com, and start your day with the all-new free Locked On Magic newsletter. That's good, dude, for me today, though. I want to thank you all again for listening to today's episode of Locked On Magic. We'll be back again tomorrow. We'll recap a little bit of the trends we saw on this road trip, maybe talk a little NCAA tournament, some draft prospects to keep an eye on. We'll get to all that on tomorrow's episode of Locked On Magic. But until then, for Orlando Magic Daily and Locked On Magic, this has been Philip Rossman-Reich. We'll see you all again next time for another episode of Locked On Magic.